Trump's political enemies here, and I've already seen it. Biden has absolutely set this up. He just said last week that I have created all this great situation here where our enemies are weaker and our friends are stronger, and I'm handing this over to Trump. You had Secretary Blinken say, you know what,
Secretary Blinken's a criminal, by the way, and if he retains his security clearance after January 20th, I'm going to every single day raise the alarm. I mean, there's no way that Tony Blinken should have a security clearance after Trump is inaugurated. But I know he's going to, it's super simple. Just pull Tony Blinken's security clearance. Tony Blinken is I think was running the U.S. government, hurting this country more than maybe any other single person in my lifetime. And that man deserves to, should be held to account for what he did.
100% agree. And his exit interview showed why. He actually told that interviewer last week that we have put Ukraine in a stronger position militarily, economically, and domestically.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah. He says straight up, and we have them on a sustained path to continue improving. And then he said, but if Trump, comes in and they negotiate an end, that's up to them.
Those are lies. He's a liar.
100%.
And I know because I travel a lot. And last weekend, I had a meeting at, in a ski resort in the Alps, which is probably the most expensive town in the world. I was not there to ski, for the record. But the whole town is Ukrainian. All the visitors are Ukrainian, and they're rolling into Air Maze and dropping $1 million in an afternoon. Okay. So it's all through Europe. You see this. The richest people are the Ukrainians. That money is ours. It belongs to me and you and every other American taxpayer. That's where it's going. Second fact, not guess, fact is Ukrainian military is selling a huge percentage, up to half of the arms that we send them. Half. And I'm not guessing about this. I know that for a fact, okay? Not speculation. And they're selling it, and a lot of it's winding up with the drug cartels on our border. So this is a crime, what's happening. Our intel agencies are fully aware of this. You tell me they're not profiting from this. Of course, you think CIA is not profiting from this? Yes, they are. I can't prove that, but I believe that. What they don't know this. I know this, but they don't know this. They know this. And no one is saying it. Like, no American seems aware of this. We're sending these arms to Ukraine, hundreds of billions of dollars, and it's being stolen and sold to our actual enemies. Like, what the? I'm trying not to swear. What is this?
Yeah, well, the reason why is because you have Zelensky, it was about 3 weeks ago, I think, was specifically asked this question. So he went at some length in one of his interviews to say, oh, no, absolutely not. There's no truth to that at all. We've implemented all these things. I know that, but the media just reported what he said.
The New York Times could get on the web and order Ukrainian weapons. That's a fact. I'm not guessing. It's a fact. They could do that today. Like, everyone who wants to know what's going on knows. And yet they're telling me, 70,000 Ukrainians have died. 70,000? Really? You think that's the number? Everything about this is a lie. Yeah. And Tony Blinken, of course, because he's running the U.S. government, knows that it's all a lie. And so for him to say that out loud is evil. Like, that's truly deceptive, I think.
Oh, and 100% it is, because it is in a direct contradiction to reality on the ground.
They're selling weapons to the drug cartels? Are you kidding? This is a nightmare. I don't understand. Why is nobody reporting? How come I know that?
Yeah, that's one of the bigger
the New York
questions.
Times doesn't know that?
Yeah, you haven't seen that report. Yeah. I mean, how could they not? I mean, the stuff is all over the place. And this has been an open secret for almost the duration of this.
Yes.
And sometimes they put a little caveat headline and then move on to whatever's next. And no one says the implication of, wait, this stuff could come back to bite us on our own border.
Well, yeah, we saw that in the 80s with the Mujahideen, of course. How are you going to have commercial air travel around the world, by the way, if their missile systems, handheld missiles, you can shoot down a commercial airliner pretty easily with a lot of this stuff. That's what it's designed to do. And if it's in the hands of separatist groups, terror groups, drug cartels, which it is now, how do you have a civilization? How do you have global air travel? I don't get it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I pray that remains a potential and not something that actually gets manifest, but it's out of our hands, and that's the problem.
But how can you send hundreds of billions of dollars of aid and weapons to a country and then not keep track of what happens to it?
I can only speculate that they just don't care about that. If some of it ends up hurting Russia, then cool. And I think that's the extent of it.
Terror attacks inside Russia, a lot of them.
Yeah.
So since when does the U.S. government sponsor terror attacks? Like, this is our government.
Well, of course, we just put a different tag on it. Well, no, we're just helping the Ukrainian side fight its war against the Russian aggressor.
You're assassinating people.
That's yeah. I mean, and as I think you've talked about before, Dugin's daughter, who was caught up in that.
A lot of other people.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah, general. Not
speculating on this at all. I know. firsthand.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry to get upset. It's that the Blinken stuff is like, it's beyond.
Yeah, and then Austin did the same thing about 6 days ago, to be specific, where he says, we have given Ukraine everything we can, and he's saying this still, at this point, we can't let Ukraine lose the war.
That liar. Of all the New Year's resolutions you're likely to put off, the one you're most likely to put off and keep putting off is buying life insurance. And you should have life insurance. It's kind of crazy not to, because the future is unknown. You got to have life insurance. But you may not have life insurance because it's a huge hassle and it can be a huge ripoff. But there is an answer. Policy Genius. It makes it very easy and much cheaper. You can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. And some options, and this is the best part, are 100% online and let you avoid unnecessary medical exams. The guy with the gloves. You don't want that if you can avoid it, and you may be able to avoid it. 40% of people wind up looking back and wishing they'd had better life insurance or any life insurance. It could have helped their families enormously. Policy Genius can fix that for you. Peace of mind. That's what they're really selling. The address, policygenius.com/Tucker, or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much money you could save and how much hassle you could save. policygenius.com/Tucker.
The war is already lost.
Oh, I know.
Past tense. There is no possibility to even maintain anything. For him to say that is to continue the fiction that they have, so that, and here's why I think all this is happening, so that when Trump comes in and whatever he ends up negotiating, it's Trump's fault. We had Ukraine set up. We were doing everything we could, and then Trump comes in and hands it back to Putin. That's why I think it's going to be so hard for Trump to do what makes sense and what's rational, because he's going to come under withering attack from the political left. I mean, it's just going to happen.
I think, you're effective. You can exercise power to the extent that you're willing to exercise that power, and to the extent that you're willing to ignore, your faithless critics. Like, who actually cares what they say? Who cares? Do you know what I mean?
And that's what I hope Trump does. I hope he says, yeah, y'all are the ones that set all the stage for this. I hope he's clarified
just committed
on what he
genocide in Eastern Europe. Like, shut up.
Yeah.
Who cares?
A million people.
Oh, I know.
We're talking World War I. We lost in World War I and World War II combined about 500,000 people.
Yeah, exactly.
That is 2 world wars, and they have doubled that in all probability. And now then, we're not even talking about how many have lost limbs, how many have severe PTSD that will take the rest of their lives to recover. They've lost generations of people. I think like 22 million people have fled the country. That's what we've produced, Tucker. That's what we built, and that's how prideful it is for America to say what we generated. That
Which is why
condemning.
I was
horrible.
so distressed when I heard the incoming National Security Advisor, who I really like personally. I think he's a good man, actually, but use the term democracy to describe what's happening in Ukraine or our motives in Ukraine. I mean, that is so dishonest. That is so false. I don't know. Maybe he believes it, but that is just not true.
Right.
And I don't think there's any evidence that it's true at all. The opposite is true.
Right.
It's a tyranny that's banned forms of Christianity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Political opponents, any opposition media, everything. Just jailed all these
murdering
people.
people,
Yeah.
a lot of people too. Again, not guessing. So, okay, sorry, my rants. Okay, so what should? Thank you for being patient. So given everything you've described, what should the incoming administration do?
I think that Trump should come in and try to get this resolved as fast as possible, and rationally understand that the June 15th line that Putin laid out is the best that he can possibly get. And he's going to have to put a good face on it. He can't just come in and literally say, okay, whatever you want is fine. We'll just sign here. But there's some leverage we can do elsewhere that's like, hey, look, we can even remove some of these sanctions on Russia as long as we get this in return for it. Some security guarantees that Russia's not going to do anything beyond this, et cetera, which is going to be hard because they have the capacity should they want to go further than the Dnieper River. But I think that he should just say, hey, this is the best we're going to get right here. I'm going to end this war as soon as we can on these lines right here, because all we're going to do is get more Ukrainians killed if we keep delaying this. So we're going to get this done here. We're going to start the process of letting the Ukraine side recover and just to help them rebuild. Europe needs to handle the lion's share of that, not the United States. but we can help diplomacy, build that with diplomacy. Especially the Eastern Europeans, let them build up their own national security and defense, get bigger on there, not the United States, not put more money in NATO, but the Europeans need to handle that. That's one of the big things here. And then the other thing is we just have to acknowledge this is where the lines are going to be, because that's already a reality on the ground. If you get that over with, now then we can start the next hard thing, which is to rebuild relations with Russia going forward.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.